सर्व उपस्थितांचं हार्दिक स्वागत. श्री कुमारस्वामी महाविद्यालयाच्या वर्ल्ड रेकॉर्ड वेबिनार 2 सीरीजमध्ये आपलं सर्वांचं स्वागत. आजचे प्रमुख वक्ते डॉक्टर महेश लक्ष्मणराव धर्मापुरीकर सर, जे की इंचार्ज प्राचार्य आहेत श्री शिवाजी लॉ कॉलेज कंधार डिस्ट्रिक्ट नांदेड महाराष्ट्र. सरांचा विषय आहे इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अँड एन्व्हायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन. सरांना विनंती केली की सर, आपण लॉ क्षेत्रातले आहात आणि आपण या क्षेत्रातला विषय आपण निवडावा आणि आमच्या सहभागी सर्व अध्यापकांना व सर्वांना या संबंधाने आपण व्यक्त व्हावं. अत्यंत चांगला विषय सरांनी निवडलेला आहे. एन्व्हायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन, एन्व्हायरमेंटलचा भारतीय संविधानात कसा संबंध आहे, काय कायदे आहेत, या बाबतीत ते व्यक्त होणार आहेत. माझ्या महाविद्यालयात उपस्थित सर्व अध्यापक आणि बाहेरून सहभागी झालेले सर्व सन्माननीय आपले सर्वांचं स्वागत. प्रोफेसर के.एन. कदम सर, IQC कोऑर्डिनेटर काळे सर, निलेश पांचाल सर, सर्वांचं हार्दिक स्वागत. सरांना विनंती करतो की त्यांनी आपल्याबद्दल स्वतः अगोदर व्यक्त होऊन मग आपण आपल्या विषयाला सुरुवात करावी. धन्यवाद सर.
Thank you. Sir, whether now from pandemic we starting a new style, that is whether I am audible or whether I am visible or not. Sir, whether I am audible?
Yes sir, audible and visible. Please continue. Oh,
yes, thank you. So let me first congratulate Principal Dr. Bector sir and Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya for creating world records in webinar series arranged by Dr. Principal Bector sir and his team and the chief patron supporters of the society, as well as so many hands giving a lot of support. As well as really I am appreciate the efforts taken by Principal Sir and his fellows, colleagues, respected dignitaries for arranging such a nice academic feast for academic intellectuals. In after pandemic or in the present 21st century, sir, really intellectual property is more valuable as compared to other properties, that is maybe movable or immovable. Hence, once again I congratulate you to arrange such an academic feast for intellectual personalities, not in Maharashtra, because you are basically from rural area, sir, or semi-urban area, maybe Ausa in semi-urban area, or that is some infrastructure may be available, may not be available, sometimes may be supported, may not be supported. Because from last 3 days I am facing such a problem, sir. From morning 6 o'clock, there is failure of electricity in my area, and from last 2 days, all network problems are facing by my college, my colleagues, etc., etc. But in spite of all those hurdles, you are arranging such a nice academic feast for academic intellectuals. Once again, I congratulate you, your team, and your respected chief patron, and respected dignitaries. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to express my views on Indian Constitution and environment protection. We are very well aware that the problem of environment or the problem of pollution is discussed on globe level. Recently, before 2 days, important news is highlighted in Times of India or Express Group. These are the big groups in world, not in India. Express or as well as Times Group highlight one important news, that is the first city, Cape Town in Africa, facing the problem of water. Hence, as far as my opinion or as far as the important problems faced by our community is the problem of environmental pollution or improvement of environment or conservation of environment. Hence, I am selected this topic. And what is the problem of environment pollution or protection regarding constitutional perspectives? Because our Indian Constitution is the... Sir, can I close my camera? Is it permissible or not? Because sir, from morning 6 o'clock there is failure of electricity. Net is also not supporting.
You can close, sir. Continue.
Is it permissible?
Yes, sir. No problem.
Yes, sir. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Sir, no doubt Indian Constitution is the basic law of this land. All laws are derived from Indian Constitution. So this is the first part. Second part, as far as the environment is considered, air, water, land are the representative samples of natural environment. If we disturb nature or natural environment in excess, it disturbs and damages us irreparably, sir. The loss is no doubt in our legal language irrecoverable or irreparable, that cannot be compensated by human being or that cannot be compensated by individual. Hence, the protection of environment, conservation of environment is the most important thing. That's why every individual must respect the nature and abide the environmental ethics. Now from last 20th or 21st century, in environmental law, we are using the new term, that is environmental ethics. No doubt we are accepting ethics, we are following ethics, we are accepting code of conduct during our service tenure. But nowadays, on globe level, the discussion on environmental ethics is too much. So environmental ethics means ordinary prudent person must take environment, use natural resources which are available in the nature. No doubt every human being can use natural resources, but as well as same time certain responsibility lies on the shoulder of every individual to transfer the natural resources available in the nature to the next generation. It is the most important responsibility lies on the shoulder of every individual. In short, such natural resources must not be exploited by the individual. This is the important duty cast by judiciary, as well as mentioned in the Indian Constitution, as well as when we go through the legal framework, that is the laws available on national level, laws available on state level, or laws available on international level. So respect to the nature, very essential, and certain restrictions on use of natural resources. You can use it, but you should not be exploited. Use is permitted by nature, but exploitation is not permitted by nature. And this basic theme is accepted on international level, sir. Long list of conferences. I am giving a passing reference as far as my views are considered. So, the basic opinion is that, in short, Protection of environment is the most important one. Protection of natural resources and use of natural resources is the most important one. This is the first part of my topic. As far as second part, Indian Constitution is considered, when I delivered lecture, I'm always saying that or using that the Indian Constitution is having place of pride. No doubt various religions, maybe Buddha, Sikh, etc., in India. No doubt respect to every religion is very important. The right to religion is guaranteed under Indian Constitution under Article 25 to 28. Respect, etc., is mentioned in Indian Constitution. But Indian Constitution is the basic law of this land. All laws are derived from Indian Constitution. If any law made by the legislatures, maybe on central level, maybe on the state level, and if that law is against the basic structure of our Indian Constitution, then that law is called as a void. And such powers are delivered to the Indian judiciary. So Indian judiciary, in short, is the guardian of our Indian Constitution. All laws are derived from Indian Constitution. If any law made by the Parliament on state or central level, and that is against the basic structure means Indian independent judiciary, etc., long list of things are mentioned in the basic structure. So if anybody violates this basic structure, then our Indian judiciary declared that such laws are void. ते सर्व कायदे रद्द बातल आहेत. ते भारतासाठी किंवा एखाद्या टेरिटरी ऑफ इंडिया ते रद्द बातल ठरवल्या जातात. So this is the importance of Indian Constitution. Now come to our subject, that is Indian Constitution and environmental protection is considered. No doubt the first discussion on the human environment and protection of environment is mentioned in the year 1972. From 5th to 16th June, the United Nations Conference on Human Environment is held at Stockholm Conference. The milestone for the protection of environment is the Stockholm Conference. On international level, the discussion on human environment, conservation of environment, and protection of environment is started after Stockholm Conference held on 5th to 16th June 1972. Originally, the Indian Constitution of 1950 did not have any direct reference or article or provision to environment and the environment protection, because the conditions prior to 1950, or as far as the views of the drafting committee is considered, they are giving more importance to the human being. No doubt during that period, the concept is shifted from police state to social state. That is, initially before 1950, that is in 18th or 19th century, the function of state is only to maintain law and order. Rigorous punishment, etc., are the main functions of the state. And the various authorities implement or execute only such a type of functions. If the law and order, security of the state, peace, etc., is maintained, then that state is called as a police state. And In that view, the constitutional makers, the honorable respected members of the drafting committee, that is Honorable Chairman Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Sahib, and others are thinking and prepared of the Indian Constitution. But this does not mean in the year 1950, our constitutional makers are not aware about the problem of environment or protection of environment. So many indirect references or passing references are mentioned in the Indian Constitution. These references are mentioned in preamble of the Indian Constitution, part 1st of the Indian Constitution. After that, part 3rd, which is the most important part, or according to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, the soul of our Indian Constitution, that is fundamental rights. For the growth of nation, for the growth of individual, or for the growth of neglected person, the rights are very important. And all those rights or fundamental rights are mentioned in the part 3rd of the Indian Constitution. Part 3rd of the Indian Constitution giving indirect reference about protection of environment or improvement of environment. As well as when we discuss the part 4th of the Indian Constitution, that is directive principles of the state policy, from Article 32 onwards, long list of provisions are mentioned in the Indian Constitution. Article 39 of the Indian Constitution, Article 37, Article 47, Article 46, directly giving directions to the state governments and to the central governments regarding protection of animal husbandry and other things, that is nutrition and etc. If we find out the inference, it is clearly held that the protection of environment is very important as far as the directions mentioned in the directive principles of the state policy is considered. So in our legal language, the secondary meaning or implied thing is that indirect reference given by the constitutional makers to the protection of environment. In the year 1972, the Stockholm Conference is held, and in that conference, the major attempt was made on international level to solve the problem of environmental pollution. 1972 conference is the most important conference on human environment and problem of conservation and regulation of human environment at international level. Our late Prime Minister, then Indira Gandhi, actively participated and addressed this conference. This international conference, important declarations are divided in two parts. In first part, regarding proclamation of 7 truths about the man in relation to the human environment. In first part, how the loss is caused to the environment, how the loss is caused to the nature, and how the protection of environment is very important, is first time discussed on international level in the Stockholm Conference. And it is openly accepted on international level that definitely the loss is caused to the environment. Unanimously, in this conference, it is accepted that certain efforts are very necessary by each and every country which is participated in the international conference. All maximum UN states participated in this conference, and our strong mass-based leader Indira Gandhi ji actively addressed this conference, and our Prime Minister boldly explained that there is urgent need to prepare laws by every country as far as their own laws are considered. So the first part is regarding acceptance of truth, means acceptance of thing that definitely the protection of human environment is very important. As far as the second part of this conference is considered, in the second part of this conference, total 22 principles are held. 22 principles are mentioned. In all those 22 principles, how scientifically we can control the human environment. The protection of environment, the conservation of environment, control of pollution, as well as another important thing, another important point discussed in this conference is control of population. Pollution, population, and poverty. These are 3P, firstly explained by our late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ji in that stock conference. And all respected dignitaries accepted the view expressed by our Prime Minister. That is the concentration on pollution, poverty, and population, because these three all terms are interrelated. Certain solution is very important. And how the what is the solution? What is the exact output? All those things are mentioned in the 22 principles. Hence, Stockholm Conference or this declaration is considered as the first and foremost or important declaration on protection of environment or conservation of environment or the regulations or laws made on environment is considered. Next, as far as the principles are considered in the Stockholm Conference, the first discussion by a respected chairman of that conference, no doubt the development is very important. Without development, without progress, nation cannot be developed. For the real growth of every individual, development is very necessary. Financial stability, financial earning is very important. This is true fact, this is open fact. But from industrialization, we are thinking on another way, on another aspect, by different way. That different way is that development at what cost? No doubt, first thing is accepted thing, development is very important. But other important point is that development at what cost? And next thing, development for whom? What is the exact output of that development? If on one side we are achieving progress, we are achieving financial stability, but on the other hand, if natural resources are totally exploited, we are not thinking about the protection of the environment, we are not thinking about the improvement of environment, then that progress, that development may be useful for us or not. So this view is mentioned in the international conference, and it is accepted by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ji. As far as Indian Constitution is considered, the Indian Constitution under Article 245 to 252 and 255 deals with the legislative relations of the center and state. 3 lists are mentioned under Article 245 to 255. First one is a central list. On central list, both houses of parliament and our respected president gives assent. Second list is the state list. Legislative assemblies and our respected governors gives assent. And third one is a concurrent list. Some issues are in concurrent list. The consent of state is very essential. Under Article 252 to 253, the Government of India or Parliament giving power to implement the international conventions, international declarations, treaties, etc. In the year 1972, we are accepting, that is in Stockholm Conference, clearly that now our state, means India, is ready to prepare rules, regulations, various laws made or for the protection of environment and improvement of environment. And on the basis of Article 252 and 253, our Government of India making the first law in India to implement the decisions of Stockholm Conference in 1972. The first act, the first enactment is the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act in the year 1974. Means in short, from 1972, after Stockholm Declaration, under Article 252 of Indian Constitution and under Article 253 of the Indian Constitution, we are accepting, not only accepting, India is the first country on international level, not only accepting but trying to implement the important declarations mentioned in the Stockholm Conference. And the first law enacted as far as the Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act in the year 1974. After that, a strong representation made by the oppositions for the protection of environment. This law is not sufficient. This law is having some lacuna. This law is having some truties, etc. This law is having some loopholes. The oppositions or the NGOs, reputed NGOs, requesting government on national level as well as on state level, certain more efforts are very essential. Certain more enactments, laws, bylaws, rules, regulations are very important to protect the environment. Because as far as the India and conditions in India are considered, our maximum population is having that much not conscious, not aware, or illiteracy about the protection of environment, etc., etc. is considered. Hence, due to the representation by NGOs or intellectuals or learned persons or legal luminaries, that is from all sides, due to made representation by the Government of India. Finally, the important amendment, Ghatna Durusti, is carried out in the Indian Constitution. And that amendment is carried out under Article 368 of the Indian Constitution. According to Article 368 of the Indian Constitution, the 42nd Amendment is carried out in the Indian Constitution in the year 1976. As far as 1950 to 2023 is considered, the two important amendments are always discussed during the period of our mass-based leader Indira Gandhi. That is 42nd Amendment carried out in the year 1976 and 44th Amendment carried out in the year 1980 is considered. By this amendment, the two new articles are added in the Indian Constitution. That is Article 48A in the directive principles of the state policy and Article 51G in the Indian Constitutions. Once again, a debate is going on Parliament as well as on national level why the amendment is carried out in Article 48. Because I already given reference that from Article 32 onwards, that is in Part 4th of the Indian Constitution, directive principles to the state policy. These directive principles are nothing but directions to the government, how government must work. Because from 1976 or from 1970 onwards, we are accepting the concept of police state to social state. Now concept is changed. And after 1976, the social state concept is also changed. And now we are shifting from social state to welfare state. And the important object, the important thing for amendment in Article 48A is that the directive principles are no doubt not justiciable. If directive principles are not followed by directives, principles are not followed by the state government or central government, no judicial remedy is available. But in spite of that, from 1976 onwards, from 1980 onwards, this 1980 to 2020, this 20 years period is called as a golden period of our Indian Constitution. Respected the father of our Chief Justice, that is Dhananjay Chandrachud ji, Y.V. Chandrachud ji, P.N. Bhagwati ji, and Krishna Iyer. These three intellectual legal luminaries totally changed the important provisions and giving a dynamic approach. From 1980, as compared to fundamental rights, more weightage is given to the directive principle. Because from 1980 onwards, we are accepting the concept of welfare state. Hence, Indian judiciary taking a bold view or taking a dynamic approach and clearly held that now the active role by the judiciary is very important. No doubt, legislatures are preparing laws. This law is beneficial for every individual. But what about implementation? What about the neglected person? What about the last person? Not that much laws are really implemented or beneficial to the neglected person or last person. Hence, Indian judiciary clearly expressed the view in a very dynamic way, in a very bold way that the directive principles of the state policy are most important. And with this view, the two important amendments are carried out in the Indian Constitution, that is Article 48A and Article 51(1)G. And these two articles clearly giving a reference of protection of environment. Means our Indian Constitution is one of the most important constitution. As far as the world's constitution are considered, no doubt Indian Constitution is the most lengthiest constitution in the world. We are accepting very quickly the language of Article 48A is that the state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. From the language of Article 48A, it is clearly held that the responsibility lies on the shoulder of government. State means government. Maybe on national level, maybe state level, maybe various different systems are considered. The first responsibility lies on government to protect and improve. First thing is protection is very important. And after protection, improvement of environment, that is forest, wildlife, etc., etc. As far as second important amendment is considered, Article 51G, it shall be duty of every citizen to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, wildlife, and living creatures. This is the language of Article 51(1)(g). Means first responsibility lies on the shoulder of state. Second responsibility lies on every individual. And in 51(1)(g), this is the fundamental duty of every individual to protect, not only to protect, as well as to improve the environment, especially forest, lakes, wildlife, and other living creatures are considered. That is, natural resources are considered. So these are the two direct articles mentioned in the Indian Constitution for the protection of environment. Next important articles mentioned in the environment by the Constitution is Article 39. Article 39 of the Constitution declares the distribution and management of material resources, which include natural and man-made resources, in such a manner their concentration and monopoly over their use should be restricted and should not be hazardous health. Means this article is giving passing reference about the human health or the protection of environment is considered. Article 47 of the Indian Constitution giving a reference of protection of environment, that is duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living and to improve the public health. So how health must be improved? Health must be improved when the environment is beautiful, that is, drinking water must be pure, or in short, all hygienic conditions must be given to the last individual or neglected person. Means in Article 47 of the Indian Constitution is also giving a reference regarding protection of environment and the protection of public health is considered. Article 48 of the Indian Constitution giving a reference of organization of agriculture and animal husbandry. The state shall endeavor to organize agriculture and animal husbandry on modern and scientific lines and shall in particular step for preserving and improving the breeds and prohibiting the slaughter of cows and calves, etc., or draught cattle is considered. So this language of the Article 48 is considered. The first part is modern and scientific lines. Means now development of scientific temper is very important for animal husbandry or as well as the agriculture is considered. Means once again giving a indirect reference regarding the protection of environment or the improvement of environment or the conservation of environment is considered. Next one is Article 49 of the Indian Constitution, protection of monuments places, and objects of national importance. It shall be the obligation of state under Article 49 of the Indian Constitution to protect every monument or places or object of historic interest declared by or under the law made by Parliament of national importance from various point of view, that is destruction, removal, disposal, etc., etc. So these monuments may be protected. These monuments is the real asset of the nation. Hence, once again, protection is very important. And on the same year, that is in 1997, the protection of Taj Mahal is heard before Honorable Supreme Court. This is the important case law come before Honorable Supreme Court in the 1997 through a public interest litigation. MC Mehta, a very leading practitioner in Honorable Supreme Court, MC Mehta filed public interest litigation. And in that case, various industries are located in the area of Taj Mahal, Mathura and etc. And Supreme Court appointed one committee. And the finding of that committee is that the color of that stone, that is Sangamrao, is considered. Initially, before the 1970 etc. period is considered, the color is pure white. But as far as industrialization or factories, industries established in that period, in that location is considered, the color of Taj Mahal is changed. There is yellow dots on the Taj Mahal. The fact-finding committee clearly submitted its report, a scientific report, to Honorable Supreme Court. Honorable Supreme Court accepting that report, state government, that is UP government, as well as our national government is not ready to shift the factories because so many persons, financial earning, financial stability, economic development, long list of points are raised. The judgment is about 1600 pages, sir. In that judgment, Honorable Supreme Court clearly held that now a period is come to take a bold view by the Supreme Court. And Honorable Supreme Court, in that judgment, that is MC Mehta case, or that case is called as a Taj Mahal case, come to close the industries, factories, etc. located on the river of Yamuna. And by the judgment of Honorable Supreme Court in the year 1997, all factories may be closed or maximum factories may be shifted from Agra to other places. So this is why I am citing here is that this is the important judgment as far as the protection of environment is considered. Protection of monuments is considered in scientific way. So development of scientific temper is considered because the data is prepared by the experts. On the basis of data, Honorable Supreme Court giving a landmark judgment or a bold judgment. Next important is Article 51A, citizens regarding environmental protection. It shall be duty to improve the natural environment, forests, rivers, living creatures, etc. So fundamental duty with respect to environment is intended to promote people's participation in the protection of environment. Further, it is important to note that protection of environment is a matter of constitutional priority. And by this priority, amendments are carried out in the Indian Constitution under Article 368 and various provisions are made under various articles, that is maybe 48A, 51G, 21, etc. are considered. and protection of environment is carried out. Next important point is Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution or Part 3rd of the Constitution or the language of Article 21 is considered. According to Article 21, no personal liberty should be deprived. If government or anyone wants to deprive the personal liberty, the due process of law is important. Again, Maneka Gandhi filed a petition. In that case, Supreme Court is also taking a very bold view and clearly held that personal liberty does not mean physical existence only. पर्सनल लिबर्टी म्हणजे प्राण्यासारखं अस्तित्व असं तुम्ही विचार करू नका. प्राण्याच्या अस्तित्वामध्ये आणि मानवाच्या अस्तित्वामध्ये निश्चितच फरक करणे गरजेचं आहे. कारण विवेक, बुद्धिमत्ता या गोष्टी may be considered by the Honorable Supreme Court once again on the report of the experts committee. And in that case also, Maneka Gandhi case, Supreme Court clearly held that a right to wholesome environment is included in Part 3rd of the Indian Constitution, that is in Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Means personal liberty does not restrict to the physical existence. अस्तित्व म्हणजे मी नुसता मोकळा आहे, राहतोय म्हणजे this liberty is not called as a dignified liberty in the welfare state. In the welfare state, dignified liberty is very important. Every individual must having a right under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. He or she must be survived with his or her own dignity. So now this is again new concept for Indians. The language of Article 21 is totally widened and new term is added. New scope of Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, and now right to wholesome environment or fundamental right against environmental pollution is mentioned by our Honorable Supreme Court under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution is considered. No doubt, various fundamental freedoms are mentioned under Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. That is freedom of speech and expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of association, move to freely throughout the territory of India, to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India, to practice, profess, carry out the business, trade, etc., etc. Long list of golden freedoms are guaranteed under Article 19 of the Indian Constitution. Now I am not discussing all those golden freedoms, but only one important freedom, that is freedom of profession, freedom of business or freedom of trade is considered. Under Article 19(1)(f), freedom of business, trade, etc., is guaranteed to the individual. Again, writ petition is filed by NGOs. Freedom of profession means not absolute freedom. Certain restrictions are very important. Certain limitations are very important. Again, Article 19(1) giving golden freedoms, and under Article 19(2) to 6, important restrictions are mentioned on business, freedom of trade, occupation, etc., etc. And all those restrictions are definitely from point of view of protection of environment. If you are carried out any business, if you are carried out any profession, if you are carried out any trade, and if that trade, business or profession exploit the natural resources or not protecting the environment, a very big personality in our politician, that is Kamal Nath ji, a very strong leader in the Congress, starting a very big industry. Government is not filing objection, government gives a permission. But again, public interest litigation, the persons who is affecting filed a public interest litigation before Honorable Supreme Court in the year 1987, and Supreme Court again in that case is very famous case in our Indian Constitution from environment point of view. And again in that case also, Supreme Court giving a reference of Article 19 2 to 6. Government can make certain reasonable restrictions. Again, distinction is made, or there is difference between restriction and reasonable restrictions. If government is ready to protect the environment, improve the environment, or conserve the environment, then such business, if against, then government can restrict, government can prohibit, government can stop for the conservation, protection, and improvement of environment is considered. Again, Article 14 is considered. 14 is giving two equalities, that is right to equality before the law and equal protection of the law. This equality no doubt maintained when the environment, from environment point of view, from constitution point of view, when the dignity of human being or the dignified life to the human being is available. Once again, Honorable Supreme Court is giving respect to the equality from environment point of view in so many landmark judgments, etc., etc. Again, important amendment is carried out in Article 31 of the Indian Constitution, and this is most important amendment in Indian Constitution. That amendment is carried out in 31C of the Indian Constitution. After Constitution, this Article 31 gives importance. The object of amendment is in the bill was that to solve the difficulties, and Article 31 provides no law which is intended to give effect to the directive principles contained from Article 39, etc., etc., shall be deemed to void on the ground that it is inconsistent with the take away or abridges the rights confirmed by Article 14, etc., etc. So again, Article 31C is amended by way of amendment. And this article is again giving importance to the directive principles of the state policy. In the directive principles of the state policy, so many laws are made for the protection of environment, etc., etc. So these are the long list of provisions, articles made by Parliament from time to time for the protection of environment, etc., etc. So thus, various constitutional provisions, statutes relating to environment have tried to revive and regenerate age-old Indian traditions, etc., etc. Hence, three important principles are mentioned here. First, we must live in harmony with nature, peaceful coexistence, and harmonious relation with nature must be prime motto of our life. Forest, lakes, rivers, animals, birds, flora, fauna, all should be treated equally with man because they are complementary to each other. Damage or destruction of one of them would invite the downfall to other. We must accept, follow Ahimsa Paramo Dharmo. We should follow not to cut or not to make violence. So abiding the above principles, we can hope humanity will return to consciousness in connection with the biosphere, to the enhancement of nature and implementation of age-old Thank you for giving me an opportunity to express my views on topic environment and the protection of environment or improvement of environment under Indian Constitution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the nice lecture. Now I request the participants, please, if you have any query, please ask to sir, please.
Sir, myself, Dr. Vilas Sipan from Aurangabad, Sambhajinagar. So, what is the subject of exit today's topic? It means it is environment, or it is constitution, or it is directive principle. What is today's topic? Today's topic for discussion.
Indian Constitution and protection of environment.
So,
how our Indian Constitution protects the environment?
Several other points.
Yes, what?
So environmental related points should be there. I was supposed to waiting for some important law, environmental law details, but today we are not supposed to got it properly.
What you are asking? Please, yes, sir.
Sir, I want to listen to some point. Hello. I want to listen some point related to
Sir, please raise your query, sir,
Act.
please.
And Environmental Protection Act point should be clearly.
Sir, you are not audible here.
At least 4.
Yes.
Sir,
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
Okay, just a minute.
Sir, there is a problem in net. You may discuss with him. I will give phone number to you. Today's topic was Indian Constitution and environmental protection.
नहीं सर, अभी थोड़ा मेरे को ये पूछने का है, तो एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन के बारे में, एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन के बारे में जो पॉइंट्स है इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रहने दो, एंड रिलेटेड टू लॉस, एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन लॉ, वाटर है, प्राधिकरण है, सच टाइप ऑफ पॉइंट्स हम नहीं समझे कि आज एग्जैक्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में क्या है, बाकी का बहुत डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल
Article 48 is clearly mentioned, Article 51 is clearly mentioned, Article 21 is clearly mentioned.
नहीं वो लॉ उनके अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट आर्टिकल्स अदर लॉस.
Sir, my topic is Indian constitutional provisions regarding protection of environment.
Okay.
I belongs to law fraternity, sir. I belongs to law fraternity.
How now? You are a practitioner in law, I think.
No, he is.
Sir, that's why I am giving.
Yes. Okay, sir. Okay, good. Very nice.
Sir, have any regarding constitution or not, or constitutional provision regarding environment or not, or protection of environment or not? That can be solved by. I am trying to solve.
लॉ के बारे में आई वांट टू एक्सपेक्टेशन था कि आज लॉ थोड़ा प्रोटेक्शन के लिए लॉ एखादा जो भी एप्लीकेबल लॉज रहते हैं ना वो
48A है बोल रहा हूँ ना मैं, डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स है बोल रहा हूँ ना स्टेट पॉलिसी के. लॉन्ग लिस्ट ऑफ लॉज आर अवेलेबल फॉर द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट. लॉन्ग लिस्ट ऑफ लॉज, सीरीज ऑफ लॉज आर मेड.
एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट है ना, वो अपना LLB में वो हमने पढ़े वाले थे, वो हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे आज.
सर, दैट इज लीगल फ्रेमवर्क. आई एम डिस्कसिंग अबाउट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन एंड एनवायरमेंट प्रोटेक्शन.
Okay, now got it. Yes. Now got it. Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir.
नमस्ते सर. महेश सर नमस्कार.
नमस्कार
सर जी, मेरा एक सवाल है कि इसमें जो एनवायरनमेंट जो हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में है उसमें ग्राम पंचायतों को भी लिया था, तो ग्राम पंचायतों को ये स्तर पर काम नहीं करती, कुछ इसमें नया प्रावधान
आर्टिकल 41 में
नहीं है
ग्राम पंचायत.
सर, त्याच्या डायरेक्टिव्ह प्रिन्सिपल्स मध्ये स्पेशली मेन्शन केलंय ऑर्गनायझेशन ऑफ विलेज पंचायत फॉर प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ एन्व्हायरमेंट. भारतीय राज्यघटनेमध्ये क्लिअर मेन्शन केले आणि त्याप्रमाणे डायरेक्शन्स दिलेले आहेत. आता इम्प्लिमेंटेशनचा प्रॉब्लेम हा तुमच्या आणि माझ्या हातातला नाहीये किंवा त्यावर मी भाष्य करू शकत नाही सर. पण भारतीय राज्यघटनेमध्ये स्पष्टपणे तसं नमूद केलेलं आहे. डायरेक्टिव्ह प्रिन्सिपल्स ऑफ द स्टेट पॉलिसी पार्ट 4 ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन.
धन्यवाद. वही करता तो नहीं, बात सही कही आपने सर, कि वही होता है, समस्या ही समस्या है चारों तरफ, कि एक बार होते हैं काम फिर बंद हो जाते हैं. धन्यवाद सर.
पण तो वेगळा विषय, तो इम्प्लिमेंटेशनचा वेगळा विषय. बरोबर आहे.
नाही, त्यांच्या दृष्टीने त्यांना असं म्हणायचं होतं की एन्व्हायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन लॉ ग्रामपंचायत लेवलवर कसं इम्प्लिमेंट करता येईल, त्याचं अशा पद्धतीने त्यांना विचारायचं होतं. आहे का तसं प्रोव्हिजन?
इट्स कम्स अंडर
आर्टिकल 39 मध्ये आहे सर. आर्टिकल 39 मध्ये आहे सर प्रोव्हिजन.
Namaste, sir.
नमस्कार.
First of all, I congratulate to you. Your topic was very nice.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, Article 48A, it gives or it endeavors the protection for forest life. And Article 51A, it gives to duties for citizens.
Yes.
My friend asked you, Gram Panchayat will do the plantation, or this program will, also fails. Various times it failed. I am from administrative servant. I am working in Jilla Parishad. People, they do not know constitutional amendments or constitutional provisions for plantation, protection of forest and wildlife as well.
Very good.
And there are some duties mentioned in Article 51A. But
Exactly.
Most of people, they were not aware about the 7 articles again which are mentioning the environmental protection and duties, that are Article 21, 253, 51A, 91G, 51 and 14.
Okay.
I would like to say Article 14 is also mentioned in our constitution, and which mentioned for only Gram Panchayats. Gram Panchayat duties are again mentioned in amendment 73rd amendment, जिसको हम कहते हैं 73वीं घटना दुरुस्ती, which is a mini constitution. तो इसमें अगर ग्राम पंचायत को एज आई एम एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्वेंट, अगर हमें प्रोटेक्शन भी करना है और हमारे पास ड्यूटीज भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने दिए है, तो ऐसे आपसे सजेशन देना चाहते हैं कि अगर लोग ये नहीं करते होंगे, क्योंकि इसी डिस्कशन में अभी सवाल उठा है कि ग्राम पंचायत ये काम नहीं करते हैं, तो अगर ये नहीं करते हैं और इनकी ड्यूटीज है आर्टिकल 51 से, तो हम क्या कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली उनको ऑफेंसिव ऐसा कुछ कर सकते? क्या ये ऑफेंस है, ऐसा कुछ कर सकते? लीगल सजेशन फॉर दैट.
Nice, very nice queries raised by us, sir. The important basic difference I already expressed that fundamental rights are the basic rights, natural rights. They are justiciable. If any right is violated, you can directly move to the High Court under Article 226 and under Article 32 to the Supreme Court. But as far as the directive principles of the state policy in Part 3rd is considered, they are non-justiciable. Means you cannot directly move to the Supreme Court or High Court or the other courts are considered. But lastly, I am giving a conclusion that now a court is giving more weightage to the directive principles of the state policy. Hence, you can move to the courts also. Now, trend is changed.
Thank you very much, sir. But I would like to repeat that provision, sir.
Sir, you can request to the courts also.
Okay,
you
sir.
can make a representation. By that representation, you can request to the courts regarding directions are considered.
Okay, sir.
The certain persons are considered.
ओके, क्या हम वो उसकी PIL कर सकते हैं या ऐसा प्रोविजन है?
PIL is right weapon. PIL is the right weapon. What I am repeatedly saying. PIL is the right weapon available to the every individual.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Again, anybody is there to ask something? Please.
धन्यवाद सर.
Thank you, sir.
खऱ्या अर्थानं या वेबिनारमध्ये ज्या बौद्धिक चर्चा व्हायला पाहिजेत आपल्या बेसिक प्रश्नासंबंधी, त्याला काही कायद्याचा आधार आहे का, आणि आपलं पर्यावरण संरक्षण करण्यासाठी कायद्याचा आधार असला तरी सक्षमपणे करू शकतो, याची सुरुवात कशी झाली, कुठल्या कॉन्फरन्समध्ये झाली, मग भारताने पुढे काय पाऊल उचलले, त्यानंतर ताजमहाल असेल, या सगळ्या बाबतीत सुरक्षेसाठी आपण किती प्रयत्न केले, परवाचा तो आरे मिल्कमधला जो एन्व्हायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शनचा प्रश्न होता, असे भारतातले आपणही त्याशी चर्चा सांगितलं की केरळामध्ये एका ठिकाणची ती केस. तर या सगळ्या संविधानाच्या आपल्या आधारे आपण जी व्यक्ती एन्व्हायरमेंटच्या विरुद्ध काम करतायत, जो ग्रुप काम करतात, जो आपण समजलं की अधिकार यूज करायचा आहे पण एक्सप्लॉयटेशनचा नाही, अशा ठिकाणी निश्चितच संविधान आपल्याला सुरक्षितता देऊ शकतं आणि त्यातून आपण अशा केसेसमधून लोकांचं जीवनमान उंचावू शकतो, आपल्या एन्व्हायरमेंटला प्रोटेक्शन करू शकतो. हा घटनेचा सर्वात चांगला म्हणजे महत्त्वाचा अधिकार ग्रामपंचायत लेवलपासून ते सर्व देशात आपल्याला तो लागू करणे, त्यामुळे जनजागृती करणे आणि एन्व्हायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन करणे, जेणेकरून जी प्राणी मात्र जी पृथ्वीवर आहेत या सर्वांचं संरक्षण करणे, यासाठी घटनेत सुद्धा तरतूद आहे. विविध देशामध्ये असे कायदे केले आहेत. ह्या सगळ्या बेसिक गोष्टी आपण सांगितलात आणि निश्चितच ज्या काही तरतुदी आहेत त्या सर्वांना सविस्तर कळल्या. जी राज्यशास्त्राचे प्राध्यापक आहेत आमचे दयानंद पटवारी सर वगैरे किंवा इतर राज्यशास्त्राचे अभ्यासक आहेत, त्यांना या गोष्टी कदाचित जास्त पद्धतीने माहिती असतीलच, परंतु जी राज्यशास्त्राच्या बाहेरच्या व्यक्ती आहेत ज्यांनी जास्त अभ्यास केलेला नाही, केवळ वर्तमानपत्रातलं काहीतरी आपण वाचतो, तर तशा व्यक्तींना सर्वांना आपण अगदी ते कायदे कसे आहेत, कसे तयार झाले, त्याचं प्रोव्हिजन काय आहे, यातून काय करता येईल आपल्याला, असं एक सविस्तर सखोल विवेचन आपण केलेलं आहे. सर, खऱ्या अर्थानं आपले हे धन्यवाद आम्हाला व्यक्त करायचे आहेत आपले, की आपण अशा महत्त्वाच्या आपल्या जीवनाशी निगडीत केवळ मानवच नाही तर पूर्ण प्राणीसृष्टीला आवश्यक असलेल्या कायदे कसे घटनेमध्ये तरतूद केलेले याचं सविस्तर विश्लेषण केलं. आपले मनापासून आभार सर. अजून एक आपलं व्याख्यान याच मालिकेमध्ये पुढे आहे, त्याची आम्ही निश्चित वाट पाहू. आमच्या मालिकेबद्दल आपण कौतुक केलं, आमच्या महाविद्यालयातील माझ्या सर्व स्टाफचं आणि आमच्या
आभारी आहे सर, खूप आभारी आहे सर. थँक्यू सर.
जस्ट आभार मानण्यासाठी आपण थांबा सर. आमचे सर प्रशांत सर आभार मानतील.
बार सर प्लीज.
Thank you, sir. As we know, Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa, you are running this world record series too. For today's session, Indian constitutions and environmental protection. This topic was there, and the keynote speaker were available. Dr. Mahesh Laxmanrao. Sir have explained this topic, Indian Constitution regarding the environment protection very nicely. Sir have highlighted the different provisions, different articles in the constitutions, that is Article 14, 19, Clause 1, 9, 21, 48A, 51, 51A and 253. These are the different articles in the Indian constitutions. This basically helps to protect the environment and the all species in the environment. Some cases also are attached to the respective articles. Sir have highlighted upon these all things. It is our fundamental right to live in the environment that must be in unpolluted environment, as well as it is fundamental duty of every individual to maintain the purity of the environment and different directive principles. So sir have explained all these things very nicely, very clearly, in a very pure manners. So I am very thankful to you, sir, for the session. You paid the valuable time for discuss over upon these topics. Now I I am very thankful to Honorable Principal Sir, the chairperson of the series, for sharing his view also upon this topic. And the participants, Dr. Vilas Dave sirs and Rajesh Kapure sirs also discuss upon this topic. So I am very thankful to you on behalf of the organizing committee members. And lastly, I should not forget all the participants, those who regularly join and discuss upon the topics. Every day they participate. So I am very thankful to you, sir. And I request all the participants, please fill the feedback link which is given in the chat box. Now today's session is over. I declare here with the permission of Dr. Principal Sir. Please, sir. Thank you very much. Honorable keynote speaker, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Principal Sir, and your learned staff. Really, I am very much thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Welcome, sir.